A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. For those who don't know, these two are Muslim statements, Arabic. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim means I seek the protection of Allah from the accursed devil, shaitan as you call it. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I begin in the name of Allah, who is the most merciful, the beneficent. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. That is Rahman and Rahim. Ar is like, well, it's a leading phrase. The Rahman, it means the Rahman and the Rahim. Rahman and Rahim are the holy names of Allah that describe Allah, which is the Muslim name for God, the one God. Everybody's God. So different people and tribes have different names to refer to that reality, and Muslims call it Allah. Because Arabic is a pretty comprehensive language, and the sounds of this language activate the human body in a very comprehensive way. And this is what we're going to talk about. So, it's a nice name to call God with, and will help you, the human. And I'm here to serve you, whether you're already a Muslim, a new Muslim, want to be a Muslim, not a Muslim, don't ever want to be a Muslim, angry, curious, here to fight. Maybe I'm not here for the fight people. I'm more here for the people who are curious, who want to learn, and they don't have to be Muslim. This talk, in fact, this masterclass, is here to serve people who may not necessarily be Muslims, or maybe new Muslims, or like myself, might have been born Muslim in a Muslim culture and yet haven't heard about or don't know about some of the technologies of transformation available within our faith. In fact, the knowledge of it is quite hidden and forbidden. Forbidden, yeah? Because people do not want their children and families to know how to transform themselves. The technologies for transformation, for taking charge of your life, for becoming a self-led person, have for so long been hidden and controlled, and people are like, don't go there. And sometimes for good reason, because people who have gone down on those paths have been bewildered often for a while. We are lucky to be alive in a day and age where we have access to support, access to a lot of knowledge, a lot of potential, people are connected, people are together, people know a lot of things and hold a lot of pieces. And those pieces are coming together as if it were like a giant jigsaw puzzle waiting to come together for the longest time. This is what I think is happening in this day and age and right now, and happening at an accelerated pace. All right. So I am here, hopefully, to stay on subject. I tend to wander off quite a lot because there's so much to say. And I'm still like seeking my right audience when you have like at the back of your mind various audience, because I've been trolled a lot online. So you are like trying to answer every potential person, because it's often the ones who are in the case of, hold on, I'm heating tea on heater. Hold on, let me just fetch. Can you give me something to fetch this with, Sophie? Okay. So, in the case of Islam, and in the case of women, in the case of the smart women, it's often the people who are not concerned with what she's offering, but often maybe concerned with her, too impressed by her, jealous, or whatever, too curious, that get involved. I've had experiences of that. But I'm going to try and forget that in order to move on with the class. Right. So Zikr. The person that I want to address today, I should talk about that person. is a person who wants to move closer to God and is not averse to hearing about, thank you, kid, is not averse to hearing about the Muslim God. Now, the Muslim God is not separate from the other God. There's just one God, right? When we say the Muslim God, I'm talking about the God as seen through the Muslim lens. God as described through the Muslim lens, right? So sometimes, if you look at, for example, celebrities, you will find that that celebrity has an entire strange or very peculiar following in a certain country. Like you could go to Japan and you would have these Michael Jackson fans who would, I don't know, they're very dedicated. Or you could have like a very famous politician and go to a certain country, like I don't know, India, where people have built like statues for Donald Trump, for example. So in a certain place, that celebrity could be viewed or revered or maybe even hated in a certain way. I'm talking about global celebrities. Hold on. So is the case with God. God is remembered differently by different people. And when I say Muslim, I'm talking about the ideal or the theory of Islam, right? Islam is like the theory of it. And then Muslims are the people who are practicing it. And just like different people use an Android or an iPhone differently, depending upon their capacity, just because Islam is Islam and Muslims are Muslims doesn't mean the Muslim is using or understanding Islam completely well. Right? So in this world, what I understood eventually is that it's kind of like a game. It's like exactly like phone. A phone is released and then it goes into the hands of different people and they're like, I'm an iPhone user. But each of them have different capacities, different paths within how they use the phone, and really literally different understanding of how to use that phone. And a person could really be using the phone for harm or using it wrongly, such as to create some problems. Now, smartphones are very smart and they don't leave it a lot of chance for you to misuse the phone, but there's still ways to misuse the phone. And people can do that to God and to religion, right? So somebody being a Muslim doesn't mean they're better than you. You could have a lame phone and you could be using it better than somebody having the latest iPhone and not using it so well. That out of the way, right? And I have to say this because we are so scared of each other's authority or the lack of authority, and this whole branch of how to even approach each other, I think, is like a field of knowledge into itself. Amongst Muslims, there are people called Sufis, the mystics, so-called, who deal exactly with the branches of knowledge. Again, Sufis themselves, I believe, because I've been near Sufi schools, and I have to say their knowledge itself has to be updated. All right, so that out of the way, let's jump on to Zikr. What is it? What can you do with it? And so on. So I have a list of questions right here in my really crappy handwriting, written in front of me, that in the event description I put them. I'm going to look at it so as to focus myself because I tend to digress a lot. All right. Question number 1. Zikr. What is it? Zikr is an Arabic word which means talking about something or talking of it, or just naming it. So if you say, for example, my name is Ramala, and somebody says Ramala this, Ramala that, even if they remember me in not good terms, they're doing zikr, they're remembering me. So that's the Arabic word. But quite specifically in our context, it means remembering God, remembering Allah. Now, for the sake of people who do not want to be anywhere near Muslims and keep on attacking Muslims out of fear, I don't use the word Allah because I know a lot of people are turned off by it. But Allah is the closest that we get to it. By the way, at the back of me is this lovely painting, and it has hand-painted 99 names of God, right? So this masterclass is attached to a group called Blessed, which is it's the full name is Blessed Heal with the 99 names of God. I keep on changing the descriptor, but it's Blessed. And so what's happened is that in Islam, Muslims have been given at least 99, sometimes it goes up to 101, sometimes there are esoteric hidden names, a list of names of God, which defines different attributes. So this is pretty much the standard, right? So I'm going to go look at it and hold on. I hope I don't mess it up. Yeah, so it's like, as a certain sequence, sometimes the names are, like, the order changes a little bit in some lists, but yeah. So it's Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Quddus, Al-Salam, Al-Mumin, Al-Muhimmin, Al-Aziz, Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir, Al-Khaliq. Al is like, it's not the actual name. The name is like, for example, Jabbar. Al is like when you call upon it. Oh, right? It's like, it means, so if we say, or it means the. So for example, we have Al-Jabbar, it means the Jabbar, right? And so these names basically are feminine and masculine in their nature. So these are the descriptions, like look at this whole tile. These are descriptions, of many descriptions of God. What I'm teaching in the course, Blessed, is that these are codes. This is what I figured out. These are actual codes, like in computer. I learned coding in 1998 to 99. I learned HTML coding and some Java coding. I slept in the Java class, couldn't wake up. But HTML I did. And I learned about how to design a web page, and then you put attributes in and colors and this that. I've forgotten it now. I mean, so now I just use a smartphone, which has made me dumb. But I do remember the basics of like how you could just, I still, design WordPress websites, and then you go to the coding part of it. You look at it, you change the color, you change the box size, and it changes. Like you switch back to the interface, like the end product, it just changes, right? A lot of us do not have to look at the code these days. We use platforms like Facebook. You just upload your photo, like you click a button, the photo is uploaded. But I've seen the code part, and the more you go towards the source and the code, the more you learn how to control the thing. And I often used to think at one time, like, why do we have to do the code part, and like, why don't we do the code part? I understood that I'm the kind of person who likes to go to the origin of things. That is helping me now. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, these are little codes. I'm scared when I learned this. I'm very excited also. And you know what happens? What I teach in that class is that when you read these names, they start changing your life. Each name has a different meaning. It's like one of those magical stories where you say, open, sim, and the door opens. It's like that. And there is a name here, Al-Musabiru, the painter. You chant it, and it's going to activate your creative, like literal painting and design skills. Or Al-Fatahu. It literally means the opener. Okay? I'm scared of it. Now, so, Zikr, what is it? It means remembering God. And there are various levels of it. Like you could just think of God and so on and so forth. But for our purposes, I'm going to talk about like literally naming God. So the Islamic directive and the Muslim book, the Muslim Bible is called Quran, right? That's the Muslim scripture, like one book. It has not changed. There are little sects among Muslims who say it could have changed and this and that. But basically, these were revelations, like downloads that came to the Muslim prophet, or the last prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We call in Arabic, peace be upon him is called Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I'd rather say it. It has more blessings and peace be upon it. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would receive these downloads, and he would get in a state of ecstasy, but not intoxicated ecstasy, but like really heavy stress and pressure. And people around him would note it, or he would remember them, and then he would like dictated to a scribe who would write it down. And after his passing, these notes were collected and put in a certain sequence. I would assume that even the person or the teams that put it in a sequence, like, were directed by a certain energy. It is a work of God itself, and Allah itself, Himself says in the Quran that I protect this work. It will be protected. So the Quran remains the same. The words do not change. It's very strictly guided. There are people who have memorized it, like around the world, and then they check it. They check the Quran. Each time it's printed, it's ticked and then certified, like this is a bona fide copy. Not a word has changed. Now, always there are heretics and sects within every body, like on the fringes you will get some lunatic talking about whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but this is the standard. So, for our purpose, and I use strong words sometimes, so don't mind that. Not very pious. So for our purpose, I mean like literally naming God. And there are ways of doing it, like quietly or aloud. So at least I would say, like, you literally invocate it. You say the name, right? You say it verbally. This is what I'm talking about. How does it work? That is a big discussion. Now, the names of God. With these names, you call upon God. And these 99 names are like, they have 99 different meanings, and those meanings have an impact. Whatever name you call God with, and like the standard name is Allah, and these are attributes. These names are attributes. When you call upon Allah with attribute names, it's like calling upon your mom, right? Your mom. Hey, the good cooking one. Hey, you lovely mom. Or hey, beautiful. Oh, strict mom. Whatever name you call God by is how God responds to you. Simple as that. Sometimes you could be rude to your mom. Like, I'm not saying you can't do that to God here. I'm just saying, but Mom, you never listen. The mom's like, yeah, I do. So. But in Zikr, these names are called Asmaul Husna. They're called the good names for a reason. They're not one of those, like, you don't listen to me. These names are like Asamiyu, you listen, right? Al-Basiru, the one who watches. All good names. It's like calling your mom by 99 good names. That would actually be good. Write down a list of names you could call your loved ones by. That's a good exercise. You see, whenever I work with this thing, it starts activating some amazing ideas within me. I started doing that. I've tried to do that. Try to call my kid by better names. And use better words in my language, because I had been taught to use bad words by the internet and by popular media, mostly Western, but also local. Anyway, so humans use a lot of bad words. When I was a kid, I was like, the one thing that I noted was like humans use a lot of bad words. I must have been under 10 when I figured out that people are making things bad by using bad words. I mean, things are already bad, fine, but the given was the given. The good given was a good given. The bad given was a bad given. Hi, Papa, I can see you watching. But then I said that going forward, reality shifts based on the words that you're using. So when we use Zikr, like the names of God, and they're all good names, God responds. Since all the names are good, the difference is what name do you use? And the most neutral name to use is like the proper name, Allah. Then there are branches of knowledge and lineages of people and teachings who are all using and guiding one name or a set of names. There is this In this Muslim spiritual circles, this talk about Isme Azam, the big name. What is a big name? And people are like, if we find the Isme Azam, we gotta unlock treasures. A lot of people are looking for power or treasures or get what they want. And I'm like, Isme Azam could be Allah itself, or it could be the name of the moment. For me, if I were to answer this question on my authority, which has been granted to me by Allah, like whatever is coming to me, I'm hoping is coming from Allah. I trust that. Whatever name that you need in the moment is the name, the big name. Pretty sure that teachers of a lesser order give you a certain name, and the teachers of the bigger order would tell you, it's up to you. This is really how we write the code. This is the actual science of code writing. In the end, it's actually you who pick. Now, this is something that was traditionally not told to the common people. Even to this day, there are a lot of people who can't handle this. They get unhinged. You have to support them in choosing things for themselves. And if they're being supported, they're literally kind of not choosing things themselves as much as there are other people who literally need lesser visible and human support. They're very self-led, guided by God, almost apparently out of nothing. Those are people who trust themselves, who listen to themselves, have the ability to process knowledge, take action, believe in themselves, and learn from circumstances, learn from watching the world, and gain knowledge. They seek knowledge, they take in news, they ask, they watch the world, literally engage in it. Often they're social. Even if they're sitting in a jungle, like they're watching their environment. They're noticing. They don't take things personally. They watch the world for what it is. I'm so overwhelmed by these transmissions. Like something is happening inside my chest right now. Zikr starts changing you, and even talking about this starts changing me. And the very essential, Zikr is just like naming God. The Quranic injunction is, which is for the common person, and can be used by people who make more special use of things. This is the beauty of the Quran. It can be read by the common person and saturated for very particular use by what we call the elites. But I mean, people who make very specific use of things. To me, the example would be getting like cranberries, and you get cranberry, the fruit. The fruit is there in its normal form. And then the people who just eat it like that, people who process it a little more, and then people who make powder out of it, and then people who make jams out of it. But God gives you the fruit. And then people, depending upon their interest and capacity, keep on concentrating it. So we call them the elite. That doesn't mean they're very special. Well, they are, but it just means they go further. They do more. They extract more value. They just go deeper into it. No blame on anyone. So there's specialist uses of Zikr, special techniques, special methods, which are prescribed by teachers as a general practice within their lineage, or they give it to a certain person depending upon their need. It happens both ways. So there are lineages which are using certain zikrs, we call it azkar, that's the plural, certain azkar with certain methodologies. While I haven't been told this, I do know that there are shuyukh. Shuyukh are teachers, like sheikh is singular uh, form of the word, and shuyukh are like is like the plural form. There are shuyukh who look at the time and place and needs and change the askar. Literally, this is how askar came by. They design the sequence. These are the coder sheikhs. I learned about this through computer coding and watching The Matrix way back in 99. I was eating up people's head in 2000 talking about The Matrix. And they were like, Ramala, you're very intelligent. Can I get back to work? I remember bothering people during my internships. Like, do you understand The Matrix? Ramala, you are very, very nice. Can I get back to my work? I wasted myself. Anyway. So, there are little zikrs for which you have to take permission from that teacher. Some zikrs are released to the public for public use, and some are done under special circumstances. Some require special permission. Some are guarded and kept secret. That's how it is. Now, because I'm a person who plays around with reality, I have a lot more to say, but I will just be quiet and say this is it. The zikr that I like, because I'm speaking in a public setting, the zikr that I like to talk to people about is like, just talk of God, right? And this is what the Quran says. Mention God standing up and sitting in this and that. So you can talk about God like I'm talking about God. I'm not saying Allah, Allah, or you can say Allah. Once you get used to it, your heart will be saying Allah, Allah, like thinking of it. It's kind of like anxiety. And you will be talking, hey, where are my shoes? And this, and your heart is going, Allah, 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 Allah. By the way, speaking of which, whenever I look at these diseases like anxiety and this and that, I'm always like, this is reflecting the absence of something that could have been or the capacity for that thing. So maybe our anxiety is all about like, I'm missing. The name of God. One of the things that is said in the Quran is, in the remembrance of Allah is the satisfaction of hearts, and the satisfaction of hearts is in the remembrance of Allah. This is how the line goes. I don't remember the Arabic well, so I wouldn't say it. But then I noted that this line is so cute. It says, in the remembrance of Allah is the satisfaction of hearts, and the satisfaction of hearts is in the remembrance of Allah. So on the two sides of that whole quote, they put the remembrance of Allah, and in the center, the satisfaction of hearts. I once did a literary analysis course, and that course helps me understand the Quran. I've understood the Quran through various lenses: computers, literature, theater. I love the Quran that way. It's like very interesting to me. Storytelling, fantasy fiction, biology, talking to plants, sheer madness of being alive, love. Yes, my teeth are broken. Somebody broke them. So how does it help me? Well, you call upon God. Direct line to God. God is going to respond. Are there any cautions? Oh, yeah, it can take over. The caution that they typically give is that don't do a specific repetition over and over, because it's like literally going to take over. And again, I will go back to my example of how you call upon your mom. And if you keep on talking about a certain attribute, that is the attribute that is going to respond to you. So you better know what is the impact of that attribute. Better know how to handle it. What they typically say to you is that they talk to a sheikh. kind of like using herbs. I think a lot of people know that you shouldn't use a certain herb or a certain spice unless you really know about it. If you do know it, then by all means use it. Often, as in with herbs, because I've been practicing herbalism, I'm having tea. Um, Often, as in with herbs, when you interact with something, you learn more about it. If you're learning, if it's teaching you something, this means you're evolving actually. So if you're a very aware person, like very alert, you would be moving into deeper and deeper knowledge. If you sort of walk into things kind of blinded, you get wake-up calls and you're like, oh, what happened to me? Either way, you're going to be awakened. So yeah, that's a caution. Be careful. I would like, be careful of what good it can bring to you. And let it suit you. Let it suit your need. Better you pick a name or a sequence of names that suits your needs. And Zikr is not just done with names, it's done with some statements which have certain meanings, like Shukr Alhamdulillah, thank God. Subhanallah, praise be to God. But when I mean Zikr, I just mean the names of God, basically. Remembering God. Not statements of thanking God or praising God. But that's kind of part of larger Zikr. Second degree, I would say. Should I be wary of it? Oh yeah, be wary of how good it can be for you. No, it doesn't hurt you. It just brings you benefit that you would need to handle. Kind of like ordering something. My room right now, I'm looking at it, it's filled with things that I've ordered from an online website. So if you're ordering a certain thing, you better know how to use it in your life. That's I think is a good way. Like if this is like a grocery list, order it in a certain sequence. This is what a sheikh teaches you, or you can look at the meanings of these words in your language, gain an understanding, start ordering properly, start talking to God. This is my way of doing things. This is what I would suggest. The Ramala Hubb'Allah method, the modern 21st century method. Make this a part of your life. Talk like you're talking to a beloved person. Think of ways, but don't become over smart. Like, don't try to manipulate. What God says is like, submit to me, care for me. What is the best way that I can address this other person to delight them, not to take something from them? But because we human beings are very small in front of God, people can be petty to God and God will correct them. God is not a person. God will fix them. But better that you have a good intent of your own, and even then you're very small to God. Even if you're a very nice human being, God will fix you in some ways. Like God will assert God's dominance one way or the other, no matter what good, how good or how bad a person you are. That is a given. God doesn't submit to you, but God can love you. Love becomes very overwhelming. God will assert God's dominance. God will show you. It's like sunlight or rain, right? You don't dominate it. It's love. The divine will dominate you. Can I use it? Yes. Use my method. Occasionally call upon God. Like, don't become fixated. Just try to start peppering your day with naming God. God will become attentive to you. God is already there. It's like a helpline that you're calling. Or your mom in the house. Mom's thinking of you. Mom's got her eyes on you, but calling upon it like activates. That's it. Right? I don't want to go deeper into it because people come up with all sorts of questions, but this is really it. Mom sitting there, you call her name, like, yeah. She's already there, yeah. What are you going to talk about? Or you could be in conversation with your sick mom, like, yeah. What is it? Okay, so send it God. Literally the same. What if I'm not Muslim? Start with Allah. I'm here for Muslims as a human being. And say, just try a little, not too much. Contemplate it. Think about it. That's a good place for you if you're not Muslim. If you're not familiar with cultures, like if you have some kind of resistance or like, what does it mean? Don't try to own it or become owned by it or try to be very smart or very submissive either. Don't act like you don't know. You can look up its meaning in your language and then familiarize yourself with it. And then look at the reality around you. One of the Muslim injunctions is that wherever you turn, there's a face of God. You're actually looking at the real-time God matrix in reality. Your own programming or misperception is stopping you from looking at what is real or understanding what is in front of you. It's like you're sitting in your office and you're thinking about, what did I have for breakfast? Is it affecting me? So you're not present in your office mentally. They could be looking at your boss and you're like, what do my wife say I should bring back? So you're not present with it, right? Likewise could be with God. You could be in a room like thinking about your own programming. Or you could be like in your office and or go to a mall and look at a shop and have your own thoughts about it. Oh, that's a Gucci store. Steal money from people. Oh my God. I was like, whoa, this is a sign of real luxury. This is the real deal. Anything, right? Same store, but you have your own mental story about it. And some could see it for exactly what it wants to be seen as. Okay. There are people who look at Gucci, it's like, if I buy a bag, it's going to make me look like a princess, even though I barely have the money. And the other like, so it's just like, pull it down, push it down. They're abusing people. I've been there. And then there's the actual customer that they're looking for. The one who doesn't make a big deal out of it, just part of their life. Oh, it grants me elegance. Like, I've got this eyeliner, like, it makes me look good. A lot of people could be scandalous. If you're not a Muslim, use the name Allah occasionally. And you can say it. In safe settings for you. Like, I wouldn't recommend antagonizing other people with it. The next question is, doesn't it clash with me or my faith or practice? Well. I would say, in the interest of your safety or wellness, it is to say, stick to a certain faith or practice. It'll take you to God, right? By the time you've come here to Islam or the name of Allah, something has brought you here. Combination of circumstances. And that means you're ready for the next step or this step. I would recommend you to take it. So you start taking Allah's name and then Allah will take you to a certain place. It doesn't clash with most practices, but it's stepping up or stepping into a certain direction. It's like you have a certain sense of fashion and then you go for this different brand, like a bohemian brand, for example, I don't know. And it changes things. It's going to change you. For example, I've got this Russian hat. It gives me a certain look, gives me a certain feel, gives me a certain aura. I got it because I wanted that kind of persona. It changes you. It doesn't clash, but it's going to start changing you. And then you will face circumstances. You maybe have to make choices. Like, how do I make it part of my practice? But can you practice it while you are a non-Muslim and never want to be Muslim? Maybe, yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah. There are people who never became Muslims. But They believed in Allah, and they used some of the Muslim practices. Like a lot of mystics do that. Finding out. It's like, I'm curious, what now? Well, just start saying Allah randomly. I go for like what I call like a peppering strategy. Like, don't sit and chant Allah, 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 Allah. That's how they do Zikr as well. But that becomes very powerful. Then you need to be connected to a lineage. You need to be connected to a community. You can sort of get intoxicated with it or activated with it. And that becomes a thing. So you better be connected to a community or a teacher who's going to guide you in that sense, right? Because if you make a certain rhythmic chant out of it, that can present challenges. At least for people like me who become hyperactivated very quickly. A lot of people don't. Therefore, I recommend like peppering your day, but like Allah, 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 Allah. Don't even make a couplet with a breathing practice, because that is going to be very powerful. But just Allah, Allah make the word, Allah this, Allah that, Allah. Just name it. Without a certain kind of breathing pattern, unless you know of that art. If you do, then go ahead. Start connecting with teachers, start connecting with connecting dots. There are people like me who figure things out on their own. I'm no one to say to them, don't do what you have understood you can do. When I understood how to do things, a lot of people stopped me because I thought, you can't do it. I already know. I'm learning in real time. I'm giving this class spontaneously. I wrote this down like 3 minutes before I started the class. When I was writing the description for this class, these questions came to me and the answers came to me as well. And I'm like, I should have written down the answers there and then. Often the download comes to me very directly, like there and then. I need people to take dictation there and then. Yeah. So I can look at a table of contents, give a class. I do this with entrepreneurship as well. I was notorious for it in my business school. Looks at the table of contents and delivers the class. Allah's blessing. I activated myself. I read a lot of things. This is how, like, how in the world of computers they say garbage in, garbage out, and also like good things in, good things out. Okay, so what do I need to know? All that I told you. You need to be clean, ideally. Or start staying more clean. Start doing good things. Like, don't resist being a good person. Yeah, that's what you need to know. You don't need to do any special preparation when you follow my method of just naming God. How does this help my life? Well, God will start responding to you. How does that help you? I don't know. You have needs. You're a human being. You depend upon God. God responds to you. Your world will start working. You better be ready for it. There are certain preparations to be done. You need to move the clutter out of your life, like the physical, mental clutter. If you're the kind of person who doesn't meet their commitments, they need to meet commitments. If you're a person who doesn't keep yourself clean, you need to keep yourself clean. In Islam, it says cleanliness is half of the path, half of the deen. Deen means the way of life, right? The Islam. And the word is translated as cleanliness, but I mean, it's not like, I used to think it was like washing yourself or whatever. That's not all cleanliness. Clarification is half of it, like cleaning things out. In computers, we clean the code up, or otherwise the thing becomes heavy. And that's from where I learned, like, you need to stay lean. And Islam pays a lot of attention to living a simpler, leaner life. And I used to think that was like a life of, like, the part of your brain, because of cultural training, thinks like, oh, it's a life of deprivation. I personally, in my heart, my soul part does not think that way. And I have lived a life where I was like, for a period, I lived a very lean life, the most blessed that was. I was healthiest, I was beautiful, I had a lot of contacts, and my work was getting done at top speed. Because I didn't have any blocks in between. I didn't have to worry about anything. I was living at the speed of light, by the way, flying from here to there. didn't have a job. I was getting invited to places to speak to them. I was like receiving gifts, and people were like, she's flying. She's like in 10 places at once. I was, yep. My soul was like all over the place. Because I'm free to do so. God starts responding to you, and if you use any of these names, the one with meanings, this particular meaning becomes activated. Pick that carefully. A lot of people try to act really over smart. They think they know. They think they can control. I know. Try it. What is a commitment, Lord? Not too much. As I said, use my pepper technique. Just name God. 1 minute, 2 minutes. A few repetitions of the name Allah, or one of these names. You can come to my Facebook class, Blessed, to learn more. I'm going to turn that into a teaching or course, like it's a really heavy load though. And you can keep on learning more. As a technology of transformation, how will it help you in your local world? Now, in my group, Blessed, I have invited people to start chanting it with intention, the names with intentions, and also become watchful of how your life may alter, how events may alter. You can make specific intention. I'm not like saying demand things, like ask a question, see how it gets answered. Like leave it. To me, some of my questions get answered like years later. It's part of Sufi stories. Like if you ask a particularly very abstract question, it seemed to go somewhere in ether. I did it in the 1990s, right, when I was a teenager. And then an answer would flow back in the days before Google or the internet. Right now we have the internet. And this is a principle that your phones are operating on. People have tried, like they even think something and the phone starts responding. That's funny. I don't know what they're doing to enable that. Let's try it. Let's think of something random. I don't know how they're doing that. I wouldn't venture to guess in this talk. But what I do know, by the way, is that the social media has been designed by people who are very manipulative of the minds, and they're not doing it with a good intent. So the phone is reading your mind and responding to it. It looks and feels very smart. There is a point of view that this is not very good and useful, even if things start working for you. Currently, the view that I've taken is that, well, I'm in the matrix and I'm going to use the matrix to get out of the matrix. So my phone responds to me, but we aren't supposed to live in the world of phones, by the way. We are supposed to live in the real, actual, world, the biological world, not this electronic world. Hold on here. So you do it with intention. When you pick one of these names, you look definitely at its meaning. And if you're listening to these names, like there are audios of it on YouTube, 99 Names of Allah, one of the things that you can do is there are very beautiful chants. I will drop a link or two in the comments to this masterclass. And you can go there and just listen to those chants. And you can play them on your phone. If you can learn to sing along, that's great. You can play them on your phone once in morning, maybe once in evening, and they're going to change the aura of your space. You better be clean, by the way, and start keeping your environment clean. Like physically clean, that's what I mean. And then, as a person, don't cheat, don't lie, return people's money on time, clear up your transactions and your behavior, your attitude. And then some people are like socially concerned, whether introvert or extrovert. And I would like them to think of themselves as like a mobile phone tower in their community, and go to like a central place, like wherever they like to go to, like a cafe or in a bazaar, and either close your eyes if it's safe to do so, or open and then think of the name of God and chant it like you can do Allah. And have an intention of beaming out positivity. I don't mean toxic positivity like beaming lights, that's annoying. But good intentions, good energy. And pray to God that may God beam out from you and through you the good that God intends and the removal of darkness. It's a good thing to think of. If you're really venturing into it, the first chapter of the Quran is called Al-Fatiha, the opening. It's a very good prayer for setting directions. It really says, praise be to the Lord of all worlds, the one who will settle everything on the day of judgment, or whenever things conclude, whenever a matter concludes. Put me in the right path, guide me, and protect me from the path of those people who just fall down. And I think when I started thinking about it, I was like, yeah, this is like, again, this is another code. It's like how you kind of gaming the system, and you saying, I want good. It's like, I watched this movie, Ocean's 11, I think, in which they manipulate the dice in a casino. That was a movie, right? Because they have a few movies. Ocean's 11, 12, 13, whatever. And they manipulate dice, put something magnetic into something, that when you flick a certain kind of remote controlling object, the dice flips to the number that you want to flip it to. There was a time when I philosophically thought, is it right to ask God for things, like God's letting things happen? But a lot of people in the initiate stages of faith are told God is doing everything. But God has sent you the scriptures to tell you you're part of the game. Hey, you're playing with me. You're playing with me. It's like entering a casino, the table, a game going on. But then you also participate in how you do it. That's in the scriptures. It's a game. It's an invitation. You enter it. You've been sent here. You're alive. You're in the game. You want to play? Good for you. You're going to earn something. You don't, the game's going to play itself. You will be handed out something. You will be really bored if you don't play. You will get played by other players around you. There's no way that you can not do anything. Even not doing something is like, it's like being in a concert, just standing there, 10 people are going to push you around. This thing is moving. So there are other players around you, and then there's the game itself, the fair itself, like God. And the setup that God has set up. Okay? What is God? We don't know. But makes himself manifest through the things that God has placed around us. It's like you know an artist by their work. So it's kind of like the artist is present here. The being itself has not been seen by a human. In the Muslim eschatology, it's said, you will get revelation of it in the afterlife. And you will be overwhelmed for thousands of years. God bless you. You can see God by God's work. It's like God is like an interactive artist. You start calling, things will start shifting for you through Zikr. Just remember God. Just at least think of God. At the very least, look at things and say to yourself when you start looking at circumstances, this has been placed here by God. Give yourself 5 minutes a day in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening and sit down. Whatever is happening in your life, whatever, like it could be really bad or cruel. And I know it sounds really bad. I've been at that place when I was like, I don't care if it's by God. Like I said really nasty things. I don't know how God did not smite me. I've been smitten. This is why I have these curse signs on my face. And then just tell yourself, God is doing it. And God can stop it. And I can work with God to stop it. Like, God is doing it. If there's something really bad happening to you, say that something has happened, like some kind of breach has happened. At the end of the day, even behind the demons is God. So why are the demons coming to me? What wrong is happening to me? Or what is God trying to tell me? Like, demons are coming to do something. Protect yourself. Why are you standing there stunned? If you're in your mama's house and the door opens and wind comes in, just close it. It is your mama's house, but close the door. Mama didn't say no. Something or somebody else did. Your brain is not activated. So just think of God as mama. Things will work out. And you want mama to be connected to you and respond to you because mama wants to be connected to you. But mama could also be upset. Stop talking to you if you're not talking to mama. That's sad. Make it commonsensical. Make it lively, not too esoteric. There is esoteric within. Like if you start thinking about the mama show, like there's a science to it. Just contemplate whatever's happening. Accept it. Yeah, okay, this is that. Allow yourself to be taught by whatever's teaching you. Understand it and stop trying to superimpose your own ideas. People have become better at it. Now they do understand reality for what it is. Okay, yeah, thank you. Right. Up until a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we had a lot of ideas of our own. But particularly since COVID and like social media putting people in each other's face, everybody's like, okay, I can't keep imposing my version of reality on everybody else because there are too many people out there. That has always been true, actually. But we were so disconnected from each other, we could do or say whatever we please. Now that we are putting our thoughts literally on social media, we can no longer get away with whatever we wanted to do in our heads. Something corrects us in front of us. And there's a blessing in that, if you let be. Thank you so much for joining this masterclass. I hope you benefited from it. Pass it on. Tag your friends. Tag your family. Think of it yourself. Allah, Allah, Allah. Look around. Think about it. Expect good things. Just intend. Well, Lord, maybe I don't know what to change in my life, like where to go. Why don't you do it and then make me content with it? Let me go along well with it. Let me receive the benefit. Let me clear out all the debts. Like clear everything with me and help me do it. Like I'm the one who's going to enact it with my body. Help me do it. Embody the whole thing. Figure it out. Move on. Close all doors. Never get back there. Thank you very much. Shukr alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Thank you. Allah, the Lord of all worlds. Jazakallah means may Allah bless you, the watcher, listener. Thank you for being with me and for trusting me with your ears and eyes. Salam. It's a Muslim greeting which means may wholeness be on you.